If you want to learn how to make your own small and complete game in the Godot engine, check out my Udemy course. Link in the description. Alright, so this is Ludum Dare 49. The theme is unstable, and me, Firebelly, and Aditon are going to be working on this together. I'll be doing the programming, Aditon is going to be doing the art, and our idea for this theme is we're going to have a little plump shotgun dude with a really nice heavy mechanical shotgun that after a certain number of shots will become unstable and will start shooting on its own. And the idea is that when the shotgun shoots, it's going to launch the character in the opposite direction. So you're going to have control over some of your movement, and then the unstable portion of your movement is going to be still controllable, but you're not going to have control over when the gun shoots. More planning to do there, but that's sort of what we're thinking about. But right now we're getting the character mechanics down. And on the programming side, I'm going to be getting all that ready, set up the tiles for the 2D platformer sort of thing, and getting the basic window resolution and all that set up. So just getting the core player movement, basic tile set implemented is what my current goal is.
Okay, this is Aditon, the artist. My plan for now is just to get anything made so that we can throw it in and see how it looks and how it acts and how it forces you to play. I'm just going to get some basic assets made, get something that looks like a character, something that looks like a shotgun, and then go from there. So yeah, that's our first plan.
So the plan right now is to work for a couple hours, see what we come up with, bounce around some more ideas, get that foundation really built out, and we'll check in a few hours. All right, so it is 1:28 a.m. on October 2nd. We're a number of hours into the game jam, and we have some basic mechanics going. So I'm gonna open up the Godot engine editor here and play the game. And so what we have here is we have a white box character with a placeholder shotgun that points towards the mouse. If I click, a bullet will shoot out and propel me in the opposite direction where I'm aiming. And I can do that again. And if I do it a third time, the weapon goes into overloaded mode and starts shooting on its own. So those shots there were by itself. So yeah, we got the mechanics going. Things still to do, or that are next up, is we're gonna add a spray of 3 bullets when you shoot. So it's just 1 bullet right now, we're gonna do 3 instead. And then we're gonna add various environmental hazards like enemies perhaps, also exploding barrels. Those are some of the ideas that we're playing with, and we want to add hazards as well. Maybe something like spikes that can be attached to the walls, so you have to be really careful about how you're navigating throughout the level. But yeah, it's feeling like it's matching the unstable theme very well.
Okay, so I have spent my time, I quickly made a very simple character just as a white box type of stand-in. There's the item that will be his gun. Is going to rotate around that black pixel. He is rotund so that you kind of, it'll rotate right around the center, so it's very obvious where to point to send your character going. It'll be intuitive instead of trying to deal with awkward angles if it's really high up on his sprite. And then I have been working in Sprite, learning how to use the tile set system, which is really cool. Yeah, so I'm just working on this this tile set here, trying to make it smooth, pixelated, get some brightness on the terrain you're gonna walk on, and I'm gonna deal with making like the inner parts darker. I'm getting some shadow and figuring out what to do with under here to make it look nicer. That's where we're at so far.
Alright, so it is Saturday, just after 1 p.m. We've worked all morning to add a few new things to the game. So we've got the player sprite, which Aditon will talk about the art a little bit more, but we've got auto tiling tiles in place. These red blocks here are barrels, and if you shoot a barrel, it explodes the other one as well. And then we have these like electric rod things that are hazards. When you collide with them, you'll reset the level or die. And these are configurable in the editor, so we can specify how wide these are, and we can rotate them around, so we can attach them to the ceiling, to the floor, to walls, and it's just a little bit more interesting in terms of navigating around. We've made a few tweaks to the movement as well to make it a little bit more floaty, so we have more time in the air, so players have a little bit more time to make their navigation decisions.
This is Aditon, the artist. Update for Saturday. I've created kind of a preliminary shape and idea for what the character is. He's like this Texas Ranger with the white cowboy hat. come in here to exterminate all the baddies, and we're gonna stick with like a visual language for the design of the game where we're using this bright red for everything that's hazardous or dangerous or having to do with your gun. So that just kind of helps the player understand when something's going to damage him or when he's going to damage something. Everything will be like this crackling red energy. Here's the artwork for the barrels, just your classic explosive barrel design. And then we're going to have an airborne enemy that forces the player to react if they're airborne and get attacked, or if they're on the ground they can just sit and shoot, but possibly send their gun into overdrive. We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna get this a nice little flowing wing flapping animation and see how that looks.
Alright, it is 9:19 p.m. on Saturday. I've been working all afternoon. Aditon had a prior arrangement that he planned well before this jam, and so he is off doing that right now. He'll be back tomorrow morning. And so what I've been doing is I've just been working on some tweaks, adding a little bit of polish elements, working on some of the mechanics. And so I'm going to show you what I've got. So I'm going to open up the level. So first I've got a nice little test level here that shows quite a few of the features. So we have the energy rods here. Then we've got explosive barrels, which now actually explode, as you can see there, along with camera shake and all this. This block right here is what I'm calling a Haywire block. This will automatically set you into the overloaded state. So recall that the overload state is an uncontrollable state where your gun keeps shooting of its own accord, and this block here will induce that state in the player. So if I go over here, you can see a quick zap over to me, and now I'm not clicking. So that was totally uncontrolled by me. The only thing that I can do when I'm overloaded at that stage is aim. That's it. And then I get control back after the fourth shot. You might have seen up here as well that there is a bat, and this bat enemy is sort of just like a flying enemy that will chase you around, and it's kind of awkward to kill it, which is the point, because when you're aiming to shoot the flying enemy, you are probably going to launch yourself somewhere where you don't want to be. So that's it. Added a bunch of particle effects. These are not the final particle effects here, but just been working on getting the bullets sort of in order there. So it's looking really good. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Aditon produces tomorrow for the artwork, because I think once we start getting the remaining nice looking art in here, it's going to feel really nice. Yeah, more to come, but that is the update for Saturday evening. Alright, it is Sunday afternoon, 5:39 p.m. I believe 24 hours left to go in the jam. Today has been spent mostly just getting the rest of the content in that we need. The tile set has been updated. There's a bunch of particle effects, so we'll go into the game here and just shoot around. Lots of particle effects. There's also sound effects, which you can hear in the background. So we got all that stuff going on, particles. Aditon can talk a little bit more about the art and particles, but we've got that going on. Got a basic pause menu here, which you can quit to menu. Basic main menu starting to work here. Another thing that was worked on was some squash and stretch animations for the player. So when you shoot and land, you bounce around slightly, and the hat also bounces around. Just gives it a little bit more interactivity and motion, so it doesn't feel so static. And it also makes it feel a lot chunkier. So those are the broad strokes of what has been done today. And here's Aditon with the art update.
So I picked a very verdant, bright green for the grass. We're just gonna go with a basic tile set. As far as the particles for the gun and all the effects, we really want to convey information to the player about what's going on, what state their character is in. So we implemented some little crackling lightning particles. These are just the general language of the red energy I was talking about earlier. So as you fire and as your weapon gets closer to being unstable, the amount of particles will increase. And then when you get overloaded, as you saw, see my next shot, since it's flashing, you know your next shot is going to send you into overdrive. You also know this because the sparks are more abundant. So all of these effects and particles are there to communicate to the player what state they're in, instead of having some UI element or having to keep track of it in your head or something. So once you enter the overdrive, we have a bunch of particles going on, as you saw. As you can see, once you enter overdrive, there's like a smoke behind you that kind of gives your character a halo, and it trails behind you. This kind of gives you like a powered up type of appearance, which is exactly what we want. We made the bullets a little more spiky and chaotic looking. So yeah, we just really worked hard on getting those particles and colors to convey information to the player so they're never confused and they always know what's going to happen.
The jam submission is in about 4.5 hours, and so what we've done this morning is we've created a bunch of levels which are all here, and so we've been deliberating about the pacing of the mechanics. We've been tweaking a number of the mechanics, including the bat behaviors, and then just otherwise just building levels in order to get it all stitched together for the jam. There's a couple of new things. One new thing is that we have a main menu that looks pretty nice here. You click play, we got a tutorial level, we've got these new platforms that shoot the player into the level with a nice little effect. We've also tweaked a lot of the visuals here using solid particles and whatnot, and just generally it feels really good. And so we've covered all of the sound effects as well, so we've got a lot of new sound effects. Yeah, we're in the final stages here.
Hey guys, this is Aditon. So what I've been working on in this final leg of our project is, what I usually do with the jams is I just put out art assets and I don't worry too much about whether they're cohesive or they all look good together, because in the end process, what I usually do is I look at everything together in game with animations and I start to make micro tweaks to the animations, the color, just the general theme of everything, until it kind of starts to coagulate into something that looks like it belongs together. So that's what I've been doing, and just, you know, getting all the final little assets that we needed from our to-do list. Everything started to come together, so I'm really happy with how the enemy animation turned out. One of our last things we added to the game was just the levels, obviously. Our goal there was to make some levels that introduced mechanics. So there's a level where you just have these lightning rods, there's a level where all you have is the explosive barrels, and then there's a level where all you have is the enemies. Hold the player's hand as they learn the new mechanics, and then we start to mix them and make it more difficult. So that's what we've been doing for the past couple of hours, trying to get some levels. We got 10 now. Should have pretty good pacing.
The time from now until jam submission is going to be spent getting all the levels stitched together, making sure that there's no difficulty spikes, making sure that the pacing works well, and then of course creating the itch page and all of the itch assets, as well as getting the game executables in order so that people can actually play them. So that's what's going to be done for the next few hours here. Alright, our game Haywire for the Ludum Dare 49 jam is complete, so I'm going to go ahead and open this, and yeah, so I think that it would be worthwhile just to show what the final product looks like, as well as the submission pages. So I'm going to go into the game here, and we've got our main menu all set up, we've got options and everything like that. I can switch from full screen and windowed mode. I can go in and go to the tutorial level. Everything is very smooth, everything feels nice. Very happy with how this turned out. Since the last update, I have just been putting the finishing touches on. I tweaked some of the levels and added a couple levels to smooth out the difficulty curve a little bit and to make the experience for players a lot more enjoyable. We've found out from previous jams that the best thing to do in a game jam, the best way to succeed, is to create a really nice experience that feels very polished, and then to make the game very easy. We want our players, who are often only going to spend 15 minutes or less in the game, to walk away with a positive impression, even if that means that the gameplay is a little bit easier than maybe a more serious player would want. Just again, very happy with how it turned out, so this is the full game. If you're interested, you can check out the links in the description to go and play it. But here's the itch.io page. Basically just using the background color. Took a screenshot of the main menu and used that as the banner image here. Attached some nice looking screenshots here. And got some basic descriptions. So yeah, that's another jam down, Ludum Dare 49. Again, download links are in the description if you'd like to give this game a shot. If you do try it, let me know what you think. And thanks for watching this video. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Consider supporting my work by purchasing Swordslinger on Steam. Link in the description.